What it do, YouTube? MJM for Life here, back again bringing you another video. This time we're going to take a break from Mortal Kombat X and we're going to go into some Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is the deck that I've been playing around with. This is a deck that I really like, this archetype in general. And it's the UA, so let me actually pull up all the UA cards. So if you guys aren't familiar with the archetype, the UAs are a TCG exclusive archetype that's based on sports. So you've got the football-based UAs, which is Playmaker and Blockbacker. You've got the basketball-based UAs, which are newly released, which is the Dreadnought Dunker and the Rival Rebounder. You've got the baseball-based UAs, which is the Mighty Slugger and the Perfect Ace, and then you've got the soccer-based UAs, which is the Goalkeeper, and one of your most important cards in the decks is the UA Midfielder. Then you've got a bunch of support cards. Now, Konami had been releasing support kind of, sparingly with this archetype, but now that after a couple of sets, this archetype does have a good number of support, and you can actually make a legitimate deck around it now. So we're gonna go over, not all of the cards, just some of the cards. Now, the main thing that these cards all have in common is that you can return one UA monster to special summon another monster, but you can only special summon each UA monster like that once per turn. So it's almost like you're substituting them out. You're substituting your players almost. I really like that concept. So they can all be special summoned that way, and they also can all be normal summoned as well. So I'm going to go over the deck and I'm going to explain what each card does as I do that. So the first card here is a one-of. It's Dreadnought Dunker. Again, I'm not going to mention that they can all return one and special summon one because they all have that effect in common. What this card does is when it does piercing damage, and also when it inflicts battle damage, you can also target one card on the field and destroy it. So this is really good because you can target your own cards. If that ever comes up in a situation where you would need to target your own cards to destroy them, you can target your own cards, and it's also not mandatory, so that's really good. This is a one-of because I feel like one is enough. Now, Blockbacker, one of your MVP cards, UA Blockbacker, and what this does is it has 2700 defense, so it's a big defender, big body, and when your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, you can change their battle positions, and if you do, negate their effects. The great thing about this card, one, is that their effects are negated permanently. So their effects are going to be negated as long as they remain face up on the field, and also it changes them. It changes from defense to attack position, or vice versa, from attack to defense position. So it doesn't say move it to defense. It just says change their position. So that's also really good. So if they want to turtle up with one of their special summon monsters, you can force that monster into attack position and then attack over it on your turn. I think this card is actually, unlike other monsters, this card actually can activate during your own turn. Some monsters' effects actually only activate during your opponent's turn. This next card, another one of Rival Rebounder. This is a very good card as well. When this card is normal summoned or special summoned during your opponent's turn, you can special summon one UA monster from your hand or graveyard. So this is a card, you can use this to recycle some of your cards, which is why, I'm only running one. I was running two of these at once, but I found two to be a bit much, especially with all the other high-level monsters that you're running. This is still a very good card because you can tribute one of your monsters for this monster and then bring that monster back from the graveyard that you choose to tribute it. So it's really good in that. It has some very good utility. Another one of UA Goalkeeper. This card, once per turn, during your opponent's turn, you can target one UA monster you control during this turn. It cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. This is a quick effect. So this is another good card. It just protects one of your monsters, including itself. So really good. The second MVP card in this deck, UA Mighty Slugger. When this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects till the end of the damage step. So this is basically a UA Armades with an easy summoning condition that can be special summoned or normal summoned. This card stops flip effects, it stops Shaddolls, it stops Fire Hands, Ice Hands, it stops all that type of stuff. It stops Valkyris from being able to attack to activate in the hand. This card and Blockbacker are your two most important your two boss monsters. I wouldn't say most important because there is a card that is a bit more important than this. So then another card that's a 2-of, UA Perfect Ace. This card is another very good card. It has a stun aspect. Once per turn, during your opponent's turn, you can discard one card from your hand and negate one effect. So this is a spell effect that activates, a trap effect that activates, a monster effect that activates. And it's not just So like if they activate the effect of a continuous spell or trap, this Perfect Ace can also negate that and destroy it as well. So it negates and destroys, and it's not necessarily limited to a card that activates when it's the card when it's initially activated. It's not limited to that. It can negate say a Clifford Scout that's already in the Pendulum Zone. So this card's really good. Then one of your most important cards in the deck, UA Midfielder. This is just your level 4 monster. This is your only monster that you can just straight up normal summon without having to tribute for it. And it has an effect where during either player's turn, you can target one other UA monster you control, send that target to the hand, and then special summon another UA monster from your hand with a different name from the one that you sent back. So you can actually use this. Because it's a quick effect, you can actually use this during the battle phase to get that extra bit of damage to game your opponent. So that's usually when I end up using this. But this effect doesn't come up that often, but every so now and again it does come up. So I'm running 3 of those because it's very, very important. And then the last card we're running is, this is a tech card, Blue Mountain Butterspy. When you normal summon a warrior type monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's basically a warrior type Kage Tokage. It opens up some rank 4 Xyz plays, Blade Armor, Excalibur, and as well. That's why I chose this over Kage Tokage. So it's good for that. And I just run, it's a 1-up. So now into the spells, you've got UA Signing Deal. So basically, this card allows you to get any UA monster out of your deck, special summon it directly from your deck. However, its effects are negated. That doesn't really matter because usually when you special summon that monster, you're going to be bouncing it back for another one anyway, and then resummoning that monster that you summoned. So that side effect doesn't even matter. And then you do have to pay 300 life points times the level of the monster that you summon. So that's the one, quote unquote downside, but it doesn't really matter that much. So this is another way. This is 3 more ways to get into your midfielder if you don't have it in your opening hand. And then 1 Raigeki, triple reinforcement of the army, searches out your midfielder or your Blue Mountain Butterspy. So basically you're running 9 copies of midfielder. So most of the games are going to have it because before some of the UA Signing Deal came out, that was the UA's biggest weaknesses, with that it relied very, very heavily on the midfielder. But now with Signing Deal, you actually don't necessarily need midfielder with Signing Deal, because you can special summon one from your deck and then bounce back another one if you have another high monster that's not a UA, and then go for that. So this card helps the deck out a lot. This deck really needed something like this. We're also running 2 Darkhold. We've got 3 Terraforming because the field spell is very, very, very very, very good in this deck. Triple Forbidden Lance. I like this because it just has a lot of great utility, so I'm running Triple Lance. Then 2 UA Turnover Tactics. So this is a very interesting card. Basically, you can only use it if you have 2 or more UAs, and if you do, you shuffle all monsters on the field into the deck. Then you special summon the same number of monsters from your deck as the number that you shuffled into the deck, and your opponent does the same. The interesting thing about this card is it works extremely well in conjunction with UA Blockbacker, because when you return 2 monsters, special summon Blockbacker, and let's say a Perfect Ace, which is usually what I end up going for, then they get a chance to summon their monsters. When they summon, how many of their monsters they summon, Blockbacker can then activate, negating all of their effects and changing their battle positions. This card does have some great utility against certain decks, like Necros, for example. Necros, if they have multiple ritual monsters on the field, let's say they use the Kaleidoscope and they summon a Valkyris and a, what's the other one? The stupid Unicorn, there we go. You can send those back to the deck, then they have to special summon monsters that they normally wouldn't be able to special summon, because they can't special summon their rituals without ritual summoning. So that means they're going to be forced to summon their Manjus and their Senjus, maybe even their Jins or their Shurits, and you can rid their field of their powerful ritual monsters. So this is the very, very good card against certain decks. Then triple Monarch Storm 4th. This helps you because with this is a 6, this is a 6, this is a 5, and this is a 5. So one of the biggest weaknesses of the UA deck, it was more prevalent before Signing Deal came out, but it is still very prevalent, is sometimes you can brick, because you've got, a large number of high-level monsters. I think 10. You've got 10 high-level monsters. So if you, open up multiple, big big monsters, you won't be able to do anything. And that does happen from time to time if you get a brick hand. So that is one of the biggest weaknesses of the UAs. And the reason why I'm running Raigeki and Dark Hole, I forgot to mention, is for the Gen Lock. So this deck has been created to combat the meta. Specifically, Necros obviously is the best deck right now. So triple Raigeki plus double Dark Hole does get you out of the Gen Lock, as well as Monarch Storm 4. So you basically run 6 main deck options for the Gen Lock. Then we got, this is another tech choice, Dimensional Fissure. This really hurts a lot of the meta, and the UAs really don't care about their stuff being banished most of the time because most of your monsters are going to end up back in your hand anyway. But if they do get banished, it's really not that big of a deal. Honestly, only Rebounder really cares, and then you don't even use Rebounder that much anyway. Now, the other key card in this deck, UA Stadium. If you normal summon a UA monster, you get to add another UA monster from your deck to your hand, and then if you special summon a UA monster, all monsters you control gain 500 attack. So that's not just limited to UA monsters. 1, 2, that is a permanent boost. So that 500 stays as long as that monster stays on the field. So you can boost up your monsters to ridiculous amounts of attack with this UA Stadium. This card is very, very good, which is why we're running 3 and 3 Terraforming. This card is very, very good. This plus midfielder is what you want to have at all times. Then we're running 3 Chaps. 1 Bottomless, 1 Vanity's Emptiness, and then 1 Macrocosmos. Again, same reason why we're running Dimensional Fissure. It's a tech. UAs don't really care about their stuff getting banished, and decks like Necros, Star Surf, Shaddolls, even Cliffforts don't want their stuff to get banished. So this is a very, very powerful trap. And then I'll kind of just mouse over the extra deck. This is just kind of stuff. You really rarely ever use your extra deck in this deck. And then the side deck, triple Space Typhoon, triple Twister is for Cliffort, and then also for Mistake. Mistake is a card that really hurts this deck. Thunder King as well, but you do run Raigeki plus Dark Hole, and then you also run Storm 4th, and then also you can also UA Signing Deal into one of your into your Mighty Slugger to get over Thunder King as well. So Thunder King isn't as big of a threat, but it can be annoying if you don't have any options to it, because you really you want to plus off of the Stadium as much as you possibly can. So Mistake and Thunder King do hinder that. So that's why I'm running 3 of these, and then for Clyde as well. Then UA Power Jersey, another very good card, but I just don't feel like it's main deck worthy. Some people who play the deck really like this card. I just don't feel like it's needed. I've never been in a situation where I've needed it. This is that you can equip it only to a UA monster. It gains 1,000 attack and defense. If it battles an opponent's monster, any damage it inflicts is doubled. And the monster is banished. I think the monster is banished during during your next standby phase. And then if you return the monster it was equipped to, you can return this card to your hand as well, so you can kind of recycle your Power Jersey. This card is really good in the Clyfort matchup because this deck has its biggest weakness is Clyfort. This deck actually has a great matchup against Necros, a great matchup against Shaddolls, has a great matchup against most of the meta, I would say, mainly because Mighty Slugger and Blockbacker, which I've nicknamed UA Cock Blocker, and you'll see why in some subsequent videos. But those 2 cards really deal with the meta a lot. But Cliffort is the one deck this deck just doesn't do well against, and Power Jersey really helps you get that extra. The extra 1,000 is really important. That's also why I'm running Mirror Force for Cliffort, and then Soul Drain and Shadow Prison Mirror here is for Shaddolls, and what's the other deck? Burning Abyss. Then there's one other. I'm one card short, but I don't know what to fill in there. But this is the deck, basically. I mean, basically just the main purpose of the deck is, depending on what deck you're playing against, is to get out, for example, against Necros, is get out Blockbacker as quickly as you can, and then protect it as long as you can. So that's either with Perfect Ace or with Forbidden Lance, because their outs are usually Book of Eclipse and Book of Moon to get this off the field, or get its effects out of the way, because basically this card shuts down their Trishulas, shuts down, which is the biggest, their biggest threat is this card shuts it down completely. So this card against Necros is the MVP. Against Burning Abyss, against Shaddolls, this card is the MVP because they can't activate any of the effects when this card attacks. So no traps for Burning Abyss, no effects in the graveyard, no Dante recycling, none of that stuff. All that stuff gets shut down. For Shaddolls, no flip effects, no effects when your fusions get destroyed, none of that. So this card is very, very key in the Shaddol matchup. So basically these two cards handle the meta extremely well, and this is why this deck has a great matchup against the meta. Again, the one deck it doesn't do so well against is Classic. So this is the UA deck. I've got a video showcasing it in the Necros matchup. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Tell me guys what you think about my UA build. I'd love to see your guys' UA builds, as well as what you think we can do to improve this deck and to get this deck very, very popular. Because I'm an athlete, I was a professional athlete until I tore my ACL for the second time, so this deck really resonates with me. I really love it. It's probably my favorite archetype released thus far, just because it hits a special place in my heart. But again, that's going to do it for this this kind of deck profile. I've got a video coming up shortly after this, and we'll see you guys then. Okay guys, so we've got a duel against a Necros player here just to showcase how well this deck plays against Necros. Now, brief disclaimer, this Necros player isn't exactly the best Necros player, but you will still kind of see how well the deck does. So it starts off all well and good. He's going for normal plays. He's got the Manju, he's got the Unicorn, added the Brainiac, he even has the freaking one of what is that thing called? Preparation of Rites. He's going search crazy here. I was like, oh, okay, but then he goes for Brainiac and then ends. A normal Necros player would have gone for Lavalval Chain and then gone for the Genlock. So we're gonna pretend he did that. But even if he had, I did open up with Stormforth plus a Tribute, so the Genlock wouldn't have really mattered. So we'll let that slide. So now I'm just going to go for UA, a signing deal to special summon the Blockbacker off of the signing deal, because as I said in the deck profile, Blockbacker is very important in this matchup. However, I make a huge misplay, and I actually forgot to bounce back the Blockbacker and then re-summon it so that it could get its effects back. So that's going to come into play next turn. So I'm actually going to just bounce back, summon Goalkeeper, and then end. I forgot to bounce back the Blockbacker, as I said. So now I made a misplay. My opponent's about to make a misplay as well, for the many, many misplays that he's already making. He's going to go for Gungnir, and I attempt to activate Blockbacker's effect. And it's at this point that I realized that my effect was actually negated, so I was actually just hoping that he wouldn't remember, honestly. But he did remember. But he's actually going to make a misplay, as in he's about to use his Gungnir's effect to destroy one of my monsters. However, Goalkeeper can activate and protect one of my monsters. So what he should have done is waited till my turn, because Gungnir is a quick effect, and then destroy my monsters during my turn, because Goalkeeper cannot activate on my turn. So if we're going to, those two misplays kind of cancel each other out. So now here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for I'm planning on going for Constellar Diamond at the end of my turn, because I figure if he realizes that Gungnir is a quick effect, I don't want any of my two UAs to be destroyed, so I'm basically going to force him to destroy my Constellar Diamond with his Gungnir effect, because it's a threat to his Gungnir. Basically, if he doesn't destroy it, it will be able to attack over his Gungnir. So that's why I'm actually going to go for Constellar Diamond, to force out to bait out the Gungnir effect. But I accidentally did it backwards. I went for Diamond and then Ptolemaeus, so that was kind of stupid of me. So this is just me redoing everything. So that's basically my plan, and I basically just need to draw into something that either the Field Spell or Dunker can help me, or another Stormforth will help me as well. One of those options. Also another or a UA signing deal could help me as well. So I do have some ways to get out of this, but right now Gungnir is a bit of a problem. So it looks like he doesn't realize that he can destroy it during my turn. I freaking top deck into a Dark Hole, so now I have to just hope either he doesn't draw a Necros card, or he doesn't realize that he can destroy it during my own turn, which I don't think either of those happen. I do finally draw into a Dunker, so I'm able to attack over the Unicorn. Dunker's effect will activate, destroying the Gungnir, so I can get that thing out of the way. I also am able to reset my Blockbacker to get its effect back in play, so now I'm looking good. He really can't do much at this point. Even a normal Necros deck wouldn't be able to do much at this point. I'm going to go for for the UA. Mighty Slugger. Here he has a flip effect monster. One of the new cards, new archetypes is like the Sylphus or something like that. It's like another ritual-based deck. Basically, it was a flip effect, so Slugger blocks that. Slugger also blocks. What's that card that Necros are attacking now? DD Warrior, and all the Necros players are attacking that card to deal with the Genlock. Slugger also blocks that. So anytime Necros players set a monster, I'm attacking the Slugger. Basically now Dunker plus Blockbacker plus Goalkeeper, it's just going to shut him out the rest of the game. There's really not much else he can do. Here he's going to go for another Gungnir, and I was thinking whether or not to Blockbacker that effect. I ultimately decided against it because I did expect a Trishula to come. So what I'm going to do is save the Blockbacker for Trishula, because I would rather deal with Gungnir than deal with Trishula, especially because Gungnir's pretty much going to have to hit my Dunker, and if he wants to do anything, because if it doesn't, then I'm just going to be able to attack Crash and then damage it with my Mighty Slugger. So here I'm going to use Blockbacker's effect. He was a bit confused as to what Blockbacker actually did, so I'm guessing he didn't even read it. But I'm explaining that to him right now. Basically, moving Trishula to defense position and negating its effects. He attempts to attack over me. I have that set Forbidden Lance, so I'm going to be able to destroy the Gungnir, and then Dunker's effect activates again, popping the Trishula, and then he scoops out of there. So that's it for this video, guys. Rate, comment, subscribe, man. I'm out of here. Deuces.